Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for tuning in tonight to the most influential urban conservative talk show in the world. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Exceptional Conservative Show, and I am broadcasting to you live from Wilmington, North Carolina. Yes, we are near the beach. We will be going there tomorrow. And we certainly are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then the Democrat. Mary Brockman, as always, you are in and right on time. Nope, we're not at home. We are broadcasting from Wilmington, North Carolina. Needed to get away for a little bit with the Mrs. Biggs, who is listening to me live in my presence. And quite frankly, we're looking forward to having a wonderful, wonderful conversation tonight about immigration. Mary Brockman again is in our chat room at SHR Media Live, and so glad to have her there. If you diss her, you diss me, and you will be dismissed. I know everyone else is, they're bundled up and they are enjoying out of the decent-sized snow in Texas, or enjoying the perfect 72-degree temperatures in New York or Maine. And so enjoy to the fullest. And as always, we are live, and there is a way in which we handle being live. We're apart from you. As we do every show, the most important thing that we can do is our Pledge of Allegiance. And let's see, get that together for you. It's amazing how all of the great things that you have when you're at home, you no longer have those particular things, and so you just gotta go with what you got. So tonight we're gonna go with what we got. We're gonna take our hats off. We're gonna put our right hand over our heart, and we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Hi, this is Miss Tracy, and we're going to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. So take your right hand and put it on top of your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There we go. Thank you, Miss little storybug person that you are. Miss Tracy, thank you so much for getting us fine tuned for this particular evening. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, we were talking last night about immigration. And I know that when people talk about immigration and immigration reform, yes, we want to reform immigration, but then we get into the weeds of trying to discern exactly what exactly are we trying to reform. And tonight's show is entitled U.S. Immigration Bring Money and an Attorney, Please. Because literally, we have allowed our immigration laws to be so convoluted by judicial pursuits of political correctness that it makes it very difficult for individuals to uh, truly uh, immigrate properly here to this country. And you know what? Deborah, we're glad to have you here. We love you. Glad to have you here, Deborah. And I want to make it very plain. America is probably the greatest nation ever. That's just my personal opinion, but it's been backed up by a lot of things. And the thing is that we should never, as a nation, make it so difficult for people to get into our country that they become unwilling to become, most importantly, American citizens. Uh, now, being an American citizen is an extraordinary pleasure, an extremely great privilege. There are men and women who have died to come into this country. There are men and women who have died to study to become citizens. They didn't even make it to the finish line. And then we have those who have decided to make it so pertinently implausible for individuals to become American citizens that they set up rules and regulations so strident that it requires not only having a immigration attorney at your beck and call, but it also requires having a largesse of funding. I wanted to get into tonight the actual exam. I want to start that off. But I also want to talk with you all tonight about what the New York Human Rights Commission is doing and setting in play for the rest of the country. I believe every U.S. urban city has a Human Rights Commission, which helps in terms of the installation of communism. Uh, I want to talk with you about that because there are some laws that are being put on the books in New York that are going to make it stridently impossible for people to freely speak and freely express their religion. So, literally, in America, we're beginning to see little pockets of communism established with a foothold on regulating free speech and regulating your worship experience. And in addition to that, I want you to take a look at something that may be coming down the pipeline from Washington, D.C., but it's not from the federal government, it's from the district government. And I want to get into that in great merit with you as well. We are on the road attempting to relax and enjoy and be prepared to be more provocative than ever. Um, and when we come back, I also want to give you some news of some happenings as to why, personally, it's going to be very important for me to continue doing what I do without fear, without trepidation. So there's a lot that I want to talk with you all about. I want you to hang in there with me. I'm not working with the full scale of equipment, but we're going to have the best fun ever. I assure you that. We'll be right back with more of the best of the most influential urban conservative show in America.
Hi, my name is Christopher Arnold. I'm the executive chef of Infused Restaurant, and today I'm going to walk you through some of the meals that we prepare here. We're making a pizza. We're using fresh Italian sausage, and we cook here and slice it up. Our pizza dough is an in-house made. Our pizza sauce is in-house made. So everything is fresh and free. This is our Thai curry chicken. The sauce is made with coconut milk and a Thai red curry. It is juicy chicken thighs as well as some mixed vegetables, served with jasmine rice and pita bread. So now we're going to prepare our famous blackened tilapia and grits, our fish and grits on the menu. Let me tell you about our infused heat burger. So we keep the spice up just a little bit with our infused sauce. We start off with 80-20 USDA ground chuck, ham jack cheese to this burger. Spice it up a bit.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not, see, we're in Wilmington, North Carolina. We can't possibly go to infuse.com. Well, we can go there, but we wouldn't be able to get the food. But you in the Washington metropolitan area, do yourself a disfavor, a disservice by not going to Infuse Restaurant. Infuse Restaurant, which is located at 6339 Allentown Road, Temple Hills, Maryland, 20748. 301 449 9000. That's 301 449 9000. And not only should you order, and listen, my wife is trying to get me to get with her and lose weight and exercise and be more healthy. My wife has already scolded me. Well, she didn't scold me. She chastised. Well, she didn't really chastise. She encouraged me to give up eating such large quantities of red meat. Well, thanks to Infused Restaurant, I have that option. Their chicken, their salmon, and they even have vegan. So, ladies and gentlemen, they present the whole spectrum of infused food to you. Make certain that you visit them. 6339 Allentown Road, Temple Hills, Maryland, 20748. Now, you all may have noticed that I did not mention Janice Hall, the J Hall World Report, but simply put, she has the night off, and she deserves it. And quite frankly, I'm very thankful to her for her years of service to me and to you as we brought the world's issues and current events to the kitchen table. We were talking about China and building islands 2 years before the rest of the mainstream media got to it. So that when news broke on that, you all were like, oh yeah, I know that's been going on, and I know Obama's been missing that one. Yeah, so you were well prepared for that, but that's what we do here. And tonight, and I do want to thank Deborah Frazier, who's in our chat role at the SHR Media Live, and she's keeping me abreast of how the show is going in terms of sound and everything, and I really appreciate those insights. But she raised to me the issue of immigration. And in our conversation, it was notable that we talk about immigration a lot. We say that we want to shut down the borders. We want to make certain that the wrong people don't get in, the right people do get in. But immigration is a huge pillar, a column unto its, with many different blocks put together to create that column. And it's not good for us to give rhetoric that's literally segmented to one or two things about immigration. And so her question to me, well, how you going to do it, Ken? How you going to talk all about immigration this week? Well, like an elephant, we're going to chop it up into small bits so that we all get a better understanding. Tonight, you're going to have about 2 hours of conversation on immigration reform. That gives you the opportunity to tune in or tune out. It's all up to you. But it's not enough for us to literally talk about immigration and not know the differences between the H1 and the E1 and E3 and so many other, the visas and things of that particular nature. We need to be able to talk about immigration beyond the sound bites of throwing out the Muslims. Listen, I believe Mohammedanism is a political thing. It's not a religion. It can be made like a religion, but it's not really. It's akin to climate change. And so, quite frankly, there are individuals out there who have the demise of our nation who believe both Well, one believes in climate change, the other one believes in Mohammedanism, and they would love to come together and divine a plan to destroy this nation. One of them actually wrote in their Stanford yearbook that she would like to actually use uh, F1. Yeah, but there's also H1. So thank you. Thank you very much. See, Deborah is really hot on this one. And let me just give you, I didn't get her permission, but I'll apologize later. We had a serious tit-a-tat about becoming a U.S. citizen. And that the U.S. is the best country, and quite frankly, she believes the country she came from is the best country, and reasonably, yeah, I can understand that you would say that. But I grew up here. I just, I just love America, and I've traveled the world, and no matter where I've traveled, whenever I come back home, America is still the best place in all the universe. And, well, there's some people working to change that, and quite frankly, I don't think, given a hill of beans, that we should allow that. There's some things that need to take place, and we'll be talking about that in the coming weeks as well. One is the repeal of the 17th Amendment. Yes, I'm harkening back to that. But most importantly, we need to be able to understand as much about immigration as we possibly can. But before we get into immigration, I want to raise this story with you. See, the City Council in District of Columbia is considering a proposal by the DC Transportation Department, DC Department of Transportation. And their proposal is to raise proposed traffic fines in the district from $25 to $1,000. $25 to $1,000. I want you to get this straight now. A parking ticket would move from $25 to $1,000. Now, a lot of people would say, well, that's just a joke. They're not really meaning it. They're not intending it. But you have to understand, how do we pay for a $200 million streetcar that goes nowhere? How do you pay for providing affordable housing for every homeless person in the world? How do you pay for these particular things? How do you pay for bringing sidewalk and street accidents to zero that end in murder, or well, not murder, but end in death? But the proposals are tremendous in terms of what there is a need of government involvement. So, in order for that to take place, Councilmember Mary Che, who is chair, and yeah, you all know that Mary Che and I are not on the best of terms, and need not be, because she seems to be on the opposite side of everything that I deal with. But Che has scheduled a public oversight roundtable that's expected to seek questions about how the proposed fines compare with those in neighboring jurisdictions. She said the city needs to prove that the higher fines are justified. Otherwise, road users would think it is the district strategy to raise revenue. Well, you have over 300 speed cameras in the District of Columbia. You don't have them there because you want to reduce accidents. They will claim that they have reduced that, but it hasn't. You're revenuing. Now, a lot of people would be upset, especially these are Democrats, the same Democrats that pay campaign staffers who happen to be black 30% less, and Hispanic campaign staffers 30% less than their white counterparts. These are the same Democrats now that want to, through their Vision Zero plan, reduce traffic fatalities and injuries and bring those to zero by 2024. So the objective is to remove mobility. Let's be real. Who's going to park downtown? Who's going to drive downtown? So what you really have done is eliminate mobility. Now, for WA and other not necessarily cash-strapped individuals. We have mobility, and we will drive to Virginia. We will drive to West Virginia. We'll drive to Maryland. Uh, we'll drive to North Carolina to get what we want at a lower cost. What's the difference to us? But say that there is a single mother with 4 kids, and she happens to park downtown so she could go in for a job interview, and she comes back and there's now $1,000 ticket on her car. Now, first and foremost, if she gets the job, she's already $1,000 in the hole. And that virtually means that if she doesn't have the wherewithal to pay the $1,000 fine, then guess what? She has to do a payment plan. And normally the payment plans are more expensive than the actual ticket itself. Especially when you have to come up with $250 to even start the payment plan. It is a scam for revenue. And why do you have to generate revenue? Because you've made promises to people, which are noble in intention, but you can't actually keep. Promises like making certain that every child, quote unquote child, between the ages of 18 and 24 has a summer job. These things are foolhardy. They're utopia. But guess what? The same people that vote the Democrats in and get paid 30% less than their white counterparts are the same ones that will promote this effort by saying Vision Zero is a very great thing. It's a wonderful thing. No, Vision Zero is a acceptable standard for gentrification. You see, when a Democrat proposes raising fines and raising tickets that alternatively would hurt most single mothers in the urban area, and in fact, 89% of the city is single mothers, so I'm just saying, and most importantly, hurt the most poor. What you have done is create a border. Amazing how they don't like borders. Immigration, as we speak of. And F1. Oh, and F1, thank you. Amazing how they don't like borders, but their financial penalty creates a border for someone who lives in Wards 7 and 8. Why is it a financial border? Because if you run the risk of parking downtown and getting $1,000, or run the risk of parking uptown and getting $1,000 ticket, you're not going to go in those neighborhoods. Clutch the pearls. Do you think they are devising a strategy to keep you out of ever enriching neighborhoods because you're not necessarily the type that can spend money in those neighborhoods, and you're more likely, according to their profiling, not the right type of person to come downtown? I'm just telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, that there is a mad grab in urban America, to hurt the poor, to oppress blacks and Hispanics, and it's done because they have given their vote over unanimously to the Democrat Party. What they won't do to you is more important than what they plan on doing to you. And they do plan on doing great things. Now, here are some of the proposals right here. Among the proposed new fines, $200 for rolling through a right turn on red. $500 for a driver whose car blocks traffic while sorting out an accident. $500. They're going to penalize you for having an accident. At the scene. You're already hurt. You're already flustered. You're trying to talk to your insurance carrier, and they're going to fine you $500 for being at the accident scene. That's going to give rise to people just hitting and running. On top of that, $100 for speeding near a recreation or senior center. $100. $500 for failure to slow down and get out of the way for an ambulance. fire engine, or police car responding to an incident. $500 for failure to yield to a bus re-entering traffic. Ladies and gentlemen, with those types of fines, you literally don't want to be in Washington, D.C. Oh, you don't? They're counting on that. The Democrats are counting on throwing each and every poor person out of Washington, D.C. by 2024 as fast as they possibly can. And that zero vision, which actually speaks to the fact that the mayor has no vision, that zero vision plan is promulgated to make certain that because they cannot toll you for coming through Washington, D.C., they will make it impossible for you to park or drive in Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, you hear their plan. You see it on paper. Is it because a Republican is conservative is telling you that that's going to happen? That's going to happen? Nah. They're very sinister people who are working, even in this late hour, to eradicate the most poor and most hostile to the utopian message of liberal America. Oh, how they wish to crush the poor with fines and tickets, and then say, oh, we're looking out for the good of all. We're just trying to make the place more safe. These are the same people that cannot get ATVs and dirt bikes off the street, but they want to make your sidewalk more safe by charging your son or daughter just back from the war $500 for rolling through on a right on red turn, $1,000 ticket for a single mother. And I suppose we, the conservatives, are the mean-spirited ones. Wow. Well, if that's not mean-spirited, I don't know what is. We'll be back with the Exceptional Conservative Show. We're talking about immigration tonight.
Right swipe. It's gonna be a right swipe. This man has shaped his chest hair into a heart. Oh, you stole mine. Right swipe it.
Right swipe. Right swipe. That guy looks like my sister. It does. But I know she's not.
He's cuddling a kitten. My God, I want to eat their faces.
Oh, she's hot.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh.
Looks like a lollipop. Ooh, that is not a lollipop. Left swipe.
Left swipe.
Look at you with your shirt off. You're buff, but you pop hashtag correct. Yeah, you work out, you're in shape. Okay, I like the six-pack abs, not the six-packs a day.
Came across a photo of his green-eyed body. Oh, my pretty face, tight waist, nice body. I just couldn't overlook one full back. She smokes like an old man at a racetrack.
It must be some kind of joke. If you think you're my type, and I'm not type, you're going in the cloud smoke. I just let's swipe, stop that. I just let's swipe.
Let's swipe that.
Why you gotta swipe it left?
Yeah.
You gotta swipe it
Let's
left.
swipe that.
Why you gotta swipe it left? This is stuff I don't like, so I gotta
Let's swipe that.
Mr. World Traveler, your trips look expensive. Sitting on a mountaintop looking all offensive. I was about to ask, how's the air up there? But based on this pic, I guess you don't really care.
Lots of chicks in the pic, not sure which one's you. The cigarettes are taking y'all from tens to twos. And one thing's true about your whole crew. None of you Cinderella's gonna be my boo.
Smoking with a tiger?
Let's swipe that.
While you're on a hang glider?
Let's swipe that. Smoking while acting healthy. Let's swipe that.
Smoking all stealthy?
Swipe that. Smoking with a duck face. Let's swipe that.
At a mustard truck race?
Let's swipe that. Smoking at the prom. Let's swipe that.
Even in a photo bomb?
You don't care. Let's swipe that.
Why you gotta swipe it left?
Yeah.
You gotta swipe it
Let's
left.
swipe that.
Why you
remember you.
Welcome back to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from Wilmington, North Carolina. And we look forward to being here all week. So we will finish out all of our shows directly from Wilmington, North Carolina. And so glad that you all are still here with us. We really appreciate it. And there's so many people who have gone on vacations and now they're getting back to their shows or whatever. We never took a vacation. We never take any time off. We believe that the message about Christ, the message about conservatism, the message about capitalism, the message about constitutionalism are so vibrant and so important that while others want to rest between polling about whether Donald Trump is prettier than Hillary Clinton, or whether Bill is going to sleep with the next heir apparent staffer, or whether Hillary Clinton's a lesbian. But while all that's being talked about, there's some fundamental things that people need to know about Christ, about capitalism, about constitutionalism, and about conservatism. And Mary, my bouncer, who's been with us throughout the course of this whole these sessions, Deborah, Mrs. Biggs, and so many others, they didn't take vacations, and so I thank them so much for not taking time off and staying with us throughout the course of all this. This is very important stuff, and it's the difference maker for why we don't sound like an ordinary low information voter. Education and enlightenment are essential to understanding how a moral people govern their nation. It's just that simple. And so when we think about the founding fathers and immigration, know that the founding fathers argued over immigration as well. They knew that they did not get it right from the very beginning. There have always been contestings about immigration. They didn't want the Brits to immigrate here, but they wouldn't mind the French. Do you understand? There has always been cause and effect in people who wish to push a political opinion on who gets in and who doesn't get in. But for the Central American, the African, the Asian, the Aussie, the Australian, the European, who says that they are sick and tired of living in nations where the government's influence is so great that they have not the right to even free speech. They don't have the right to free expression or to protest or to lobby their own Congress or even to protect themselves with a gun. Ladies and gentlemen, we are crazy free in this nation, but those rights are being taken from us by people likened unto the ones I spoke about earlier tonight, who wish to charge people $1,000 for a parking ticket. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the people that you should be looking at, not me. I'm not the one trying to take away your liberty. I'm not the one trying to take away your freedom. In fact, what I like to do in cheat sheet form is help you be more than you ever expected to be. And tonight, I want to go over the citizenship test because there are lots of people who take U.S. history, and there are lots of people who take, Constitution and everything. But the bottom line is, many people, in all sincerity, they don't take it for real. They don't. Do you understand that there is a test that someone has to study for and pass to be an American citizen? It requires a study of civics, history, government, English, social studies, all that, just to get in this country. And the really sad thing is, many Americans would not be able to pass the exam. So tonight, I want to go over some of these particular questions per their section. And I want to see if you would be able to give the right answers to all of this. Now, it might be intriguing enough for you to stay if we were giving away a car. But here's a more wealthy proposition. The less you know about your own nation, the less you will be able to secure it. You only lose the rights that you know about. So if you don't know your rights and you lose them, you didn't lose anything at all, did you? You were just as accursed as to know as you did not know. America, wake up. There are other people that would love to be Americans and pray someday to become Americans and wish they had the luxury, the privilege, the freedoms, the liberties that you have. Let's go with our first question of the night. And for those who are following along in the chat room, things nobody learns today. You're absolutely right, Mary. For those who are following along in the chat room, which are only two right now, that's myself and Mary Brockman. I think Deborah's in the chat room as well. Yeah, okay, yeah, she's in there. Okay, so for all of those who are in the chat room, guess what? You have an opportunity to win a grand prize with the answering of the questions, all right? So we will make sure that you have a grand prize given to you. The winner of that grand prize will be announced at the very end of this particular program. So get in there and get your questions answered, all right? So here we go. You don't want to answer, it's okay. All right, here's the first question. What is the supreme law of the land? What is the supreme law of the land? Do 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 do. All right, we have no one who answered that question in the chat room. No one. The answer to that question, the supreme law of the land, is the Constitution. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. All right. Don't worry about it. We move on to the next question where the points really grow. There are three things that the Constitution does. There you go. Mary Brockman got hers in. There we go. The Constitution. Thank you, Mary. Mary's leading in the points tally already. There you go. There are three things that the Constitution does. One is to set up the government. The other is to define the government. What is the third thing that the Constitution does? Do 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 do. Yes, you did, Mary. You answered it. Move on to the next question. What's the third thing that the U.S. Constitution does? It sets up the government. It defines the government. There's a third thing that it does. Yes, you did. You answered it. You got that. All right. And time's up. All right. Let's see what the people in the chat room came up with. There is no answer there. But here's where the points really grow. The third thing, besides set up the government and then define the government, the Constitution protects the basic rights of Americans. Limit the government. We'll take that answer, Mary. We'll take that answer. But it is actually to protect the basic rights of Americans. Limiting the government does that, in fact. So we'll take that one. Protecting the basic rights of Americans. All right. So Mary's on a roll here. She's got two. Okay. The idea of self-government is in the first three words of the Constitution. What are the first three words of the U.S. Constitution? Do 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 dee da da scooby dee ba da da ba boo dee 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 do ba da 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 dee 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 da. I think I might choose some better music. All right. So, tell me what are the first 3 words of the U.S. Constitution? We the people is the correct answer. Deborah Blair actually answered that one. Mary also answered that question. We the people. All right, so this is really becoming a barn burner. Mary has 3. Deborah has 1. And I was going to tell everyone that we are about to give away a $50 gift card. So there you go. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to give away a $50 gift card to the winner tonight. I bet you those answers start flowing in now. But I need to keep score. If somebody's listening to me, and bring me a pad and pen, I need to keep score here. Because I know it gets interesting when we go to 50, in terms of the. All right. So right now it is Mary 3 and Deborah 1. All right, so there we go. We got it. Okay, thank you. You look very lovely. Thank you. You're very good. Oh, just checking the pen now. Wow. Okay. Give it away a $50 gift card. All right. Thank you, Miss Executive Producer. All right. Mary has 3. Deborah has 1. All right. Here we go. Here's the next question. What is an amendment to the Constitution? What is an amendment to the Constitution? What is an amendment to the Constitution? We'll go with this kind of music right here. We keep it on there for 30 seconds. You have 30 seconds to come up with the answer of what is an amendment. There we go. Now 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we stop right there. What is an amendment? A change. A change. Mary is correct. It is a change. There we go. Mary has 4. Changing or adding something. There you go. Deborah has 2. There we go. All right, this is really heating up now, boy. Woo. Okay. What do we call the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution? What do we call the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution? 30 seconds. This is for a $50 gift card. See, this is why people should tune into the Exception Conservative Show. And let me just make certain everyone understands the legalese. It is only for those who are in the chat roll on tonight, which is December 29, 2015. There are no other opportunities for people to get that $50 gift card, all right? None other, just for tonight. See, that's why you should always be in the chat room. All right, so we got the 30 seconds done. All right. And we have in the chat room, what are the first 10 amendments? Mary has the Bill of Rights. Mary is correct. That is exactly. Mary has 5 now. 5 points. And Deborah put in her, she has 3 points. All right. All right, good. Okay. Now remember, y'all only got 30 seconds. So let's get it together. All right. So here we go. Name one of the freedoms in the First Amendment. Name one of the freedoms in the First Amendment. You got 30 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, there we go. We'll close that one out. And let's see who put one in there. The Bill of Rights. You each have the correct answer, the Bill of Rights, but that is for the last one. What is one right or freedom from the First Amendment? Freedom of speech. Deborah has it, and Mary has it. All right, they are on a roll. Mary has 6. Deborah has 4. Oh, man, they are really flying here. They want that $50. All right. Now, How many amendments have there been to the Constitution? How many amendments does the Constitution have? Give you a head start on that question. We start again. 30 seconds. Got 10 seconds. Got 5 seconds. 2, 1, and we stop. There we go. Mary says 19. Deborah says 19. There are actually 27 amendments to the U.S. Constitution. No points in that round. 27. There are 27. There we go. That's the correct answer is 27. It's okay. It's okay. Good, good. But y'all came close. All right. So we're going to come out of this particular section for a second. Here's a question for you. Who makes federal laws? Who makes federal laws? You got 30 seconds to tell me who makes federal laws. This is why I always tell you, conservative women are the most beautiful and the most brilliant. They really are. You couldn't do this with a liberal. They'd be trying to change stuff. You have 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. That is it. All right. Who makes federal laws? Mary says Congress. Deborah says Congress. Guess what? You're both right. Congress is the correct answer. All right, 7-5. This thing is really getting good. Getting good. All right, we can jump around to another area. Okay. If both the president and the vice president can no longer serve, who becomes president? If both the president and the vice president can no longer serve, who becomes the president of the United States? Got 40 seconds on that one. $40 seconds. You got 20 seconds to go on the thinking part there. That's a tough one. Question is, if the president and vice president can no longer serve, who becomes president? All right. And stop right there. What are the answers we have? Written down, Speaker of the House. Speaker of the House, you are both correct. The Speaker of the House becomes president if the president and the vice president can no longer serve. Score 8-6. All right. And we got to go to a break. When we come back from the break, the tallies double. You get double the points on the question. That means that the questions get a little more tough. Yes, welcome back to our immigration show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It only gets better from here, trust me. And if you can't pass this, there's a problem with your citizenship.
Right swipe. It's gonna be a right swipe. This man has shaped his chest hair into a heart. Oh. You stole mine. Right swipe it.
Right swipe. Right swipe.
That guy looks like my sister.
It does.
But I know she's not.
He's cuddling a kitten. My God, I want to eat their faces.
Oh, she's hot.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh.
That's a lollipop. Oh, that is not a lollipop.
Left swipe.
Left swipe.
This must be some kind of joke. You think you're my type, and I'm not type. You're good in the cloud of smoke. I just left swipe, bye bye. shape. Okay, I like the six-pack abs, not the six-packs a day.
Came across a photo of a green body. Oh my, pretty face, tight waist, nice body. I just couldn't overlook one full back. He smokes like an old man at a racetrack.
This looks is some kind of joke. You think you're my type, and I'm not type. You're going in the cloud smoke. I just left swipe, bye bye. I just left swipe.
Let's swipe that.
Why you gotta swipe it left?
Yeah.
You gotta swipe it
Let's
left.
swipe that.
Why you gotta swipe it left? This is just my don't like, so I gotta
Let's swipe that.
Mr. Road Cavalier, trips look expensive. Sitting on a mountaintop, looking all offensive. I was about to ask, how's the air up there? But based on this pic, I guess you don't really care.
Lots of chicks in the pic, not sure which one's you. Them cigarettes are taking y'all from tens to twos. And one thing's true about your whole crew. None of you Cinderella's gonna be my boo.
Smoking with a tiger?
Let's swipe that.
While you're on a hang glider?
Let's swipe that. Smoking while acting healthy. Let's swipe that.
Smoking all stealthy?
Let's swipe that. Smoking with a duck face. Let's swipe that.
At a monster truck race?
Let's swipe that. Smoking at the prom. Let's swipe that.
Even in a photo booth?
He don't care. Let's swipe that.
Why you gotta swipe it left?
Yeah.
You gotta swipe it
Let's
left.
swipe that.
Why you gotta swipe it left? This is just my don't like, so I gotta
Let's swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left.
Yeah.
Hashtag. I'll never remember you.
No, she won't. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to the most influential urban conservative talk show in America. We're talking about immigration. And when we get into the second half of the show, we'll get into the concept of why you need to bring lots of money and why you need to bring an attorney with you. If you weren't listening last night, I think you get a concept of why you need an attorney. My God, all of the legalese in terms of just being a U.S. citizen. We're not even by parent. We haven't even gotten into what the naturalization process is. And we haven't talked about red cards or green cards or blue cards or black cards. I don't know. It's just, there's a lot to all of this. Stockings for Soldiers, Delaware Incorporated, was founded to help improve the morals and welfare of members of the armed forces of the United States of America deployed in harm's way. We accomplish our mission by sewing holiday stockings and filling them with special items for the troops. Many of the stockings that we send are for a specific person with their name on the stocking. For many troops, that gift is the only gift they receive for the holidays. Now, they're trying to send a touch of home as well as personal messages of support to remind the troops and to show that we appreciate them for all that they do, and to let them know that they have not been forgotten during the holiday season. Now, there is another holiday season to come, and there's still expenses that have to be paid off for this last holiday season. They depend on the generosity of others to help accomplish the vital mission. Stockings for Soldiers, Delaware Incorporated is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and as such, donations are deductible to the extent allowed by law. Please consult your tax professional for more information. If you would like to make a donation to the community project, please send your check to Stockings for Soldiers, Delaware Incorporated, 1911 Folk Road, that's F-O-U-L-K Road, Wilmington, Delaware, 19810. We like to thank our soldiers, and they would like to hear you thank them. Choose Stockings for Soldiers, Delaware Incorporated. I want to welcome you back. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get into that second round of questioning where the dollar points go up, I mean, the points go up. Oh my God, it really got, when we added the $50 gift card, boy, the intensity began to grow. Let's see, they're in a conversation. Some they will never use. Okay, it's and that was a statement I made in there in the chat roll. It's amazing what we ask people to know to get in to our country, and that's true. Mary says some they will never use, and Deborah says, and you have 6 months to know all of it. Months. Exactly, and that's the amazing thing. It took you 12 years to amass the knowledge base that these people are asked to get in about 8 months. Mary Brockman says, why does it take up to 10 years to get to earn citizenship? Deborah says, all the things you have to go through before you get to your 10-year mark. That's what needs to be changed. And thank you, Mary. Mary has just blessed us with the reason why I'm doing the shows this week on immigration reform. There is a lot of stuff that we yell and scream about building fences and walls, and putting up our tech and our troops to keep people out. What about the people who are following the rules to get in? Do you know what they have to do to get in? Do you know what anyone has to do to get in? And will a fence be enough to stop people from getting into our country who shouldn't be here in the first place? We're going to be talking about that all this week. And quite frankly, it's time that we do. Because no longer do we want the people on the left or the right to take advantage of us on the conversation of immigration. The 14th Amendment speaks to immigration, and it allows Congress to make changes, not the president. We talk all about that this week. Also, without a shadow of doubt, there's some people that put our program on the air around the world, not just from the exceptionalconservativeshow.com, but Rebooting Liberty, High Plains Talk, SHR Media, The Voice of Liberty, Blueberry, Stitcher, all of those. And there's so many others that Mary Brockman, uh, Jeffrey, uh, Jeffrey on Facebook. Thank you, because you've been sending my stuff out. And Aubrey, thank you for your compliments last night. But people have been sending out these shows around the world. And when you come back, I want to tell you what happens when people around the world don't like what the Exception One says. You're listening to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. I'm your host, the Exceptional One, Ken McClinton. We'll be right back.
Buenas tardes, niños. This is Spanish with Señora Cabrera. Today we will learn how to say the Pledge of Allegiance in Spanish. In English, we say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, in Spanish, we say, juro fidelidad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la república que representa, una nación bajo Dios, indivisible, con libertad y justicia para todos. Muy bien.
Muy bien.
Practice your pledge of allegiance, and the more you practice, the faster you will memorize. See you later.
Thank you, Senora Cabrera, and we will see you now. You're listening to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from Wilmington, North Carolina. Yes, we are in transit. We're at the beach. Need to get away for a little bit from D.C. One of the major reasons is we got a lot of work when we come back to Washington, D.C. You're listening to the exceptional one, Kim McClinton. We are certainly not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then the socialist. Mrs. Biggs is watching, well, listening to me, even as I mouth off and speak, and I want to thank her so much for providing the necessary tools for the game show that we're doing tonight on immigration. Uh, uh, and quite frankly, the reason why we're doing these shows this week on immigration, first and foremost, most of my conservative cohorts are either coming back from their vacations or still on their vacations, and they're allowing other substandard uh, hosts to take their place who don't necessarily measure to the greatness of the host themselves. But there's a reason why you do that. It's to make certain that you will be accepted back. You certainly don't want to put anyone on your air that sounds better than you and knows better than you, because there goes your show. So there you go. Um, but we haven't taken a single break during this vacation period, and we're just going to get bigger and we're getting better. We're ending our 5th year on the air, February 28th, 2016. We will be entering year number 6. We have already done virtually about 900 shows to date. We will be quickly moving past the 1,000 mark by the time that we have our anniversary. And so I'm just greatly appreciative of all of you who have been listening over the years. We are getting a lot of notoriety now as being the great urban conservative talk show that we have been consistently over the years. We are number 1 in Washington, D.C., according to Reverb Nation charts. We are also number 12 and number 13, 12 nationally and 13 globally. So there's a lot of people around the world who are now listening to this program. And so why not do a show on immigration? Because a lot of them would like to leave the country that they're in because possibly you have a president who got too close to his second term and decided that he was going to take the third term without your constitutional consent. Maybe you have ISIS in your country and you decided, I'm not really all down with this ISIS fundamentalism thing. I just want to praise a rock called Allah and peace. I don't want to bother nobody. I don't want nobody bothering me. I just want to come to the U.S. So that's an opportunity for you. There might be persecuted Christians around the world who say, hey, you know what? America is the last great nation that will protect my right to worship the Holy One, the one true God. And so that opens the door for them. There might be some people here who want to open up a business. And I started a business in Japan and it did well. And now I'd like to spread that business to the U.S. I know that's going to require a lot of time and a lot of effort. And I need to come to that country to work there. And I want to be a citizen of that country while I am there. And I can buy my way into this particular. So there's lots of opportunities. And when you are a national figure, like the exceptional one, your voice gets heard around the world. And so we're grateful for that. And we will never ask God to take that away from us. In fact, we ask God to expand us ever more in our territory around the world, and that more and more people begin to hear the good news about Christ, the good news of Christianity, the good news of capitalism, conservatism, and constitutionalism. If we hear all that good news going out, it can't do anything but change the world for the good. But you all know that recently I have been very boisterous in my assertions about the Mohammedans, the Muslims. Some people call them the Muzis. I don't do that. But the bottom line is that has warranted some concern. Okay. As you all know, that there was the instance of the individual from New Guinea who was a bit riled about Kwanzaa. Just recently, a gentleman from Pakistan who owns a knife company notified me that he wanted to be my friend on Facebook. So I want to be very honest and very open with my listening audience. And I didn't know any way of saying this to my wife. Um, you got to really love somebody to be as open to tell them what the situation is. Um, but ladies and gentlemen, there are a number of people, including the gentleman from Ghana, and I've been in talks with Dr. Michael Jones about this, my very good friend. There are people around the world who are Mohammedans, who are Muslim, who practice Islam, who are not necessarily, I should say, just reading it for the good times. They are hellacious. They are sincerely afoot about evil doing, and they want to silence individuals who know the truth because the truth will make you all free. There have not been any exact threats. There have not been any exact promises. But the amount of attention that I'm beginning to get from the Islamic community is growing. And that's all I want to say on that particular subject. But I just want to make certain that the Mohammedans understand until the last breath, and I don't care if you threaten me with the fact that you own a knife company, until the very last breath, Jesus the Christ, John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whomsoever believeth on him shall have eternal life. I don't need 72 virgins who have 72 virgins, who have 72 wives and all that. I don't need someone to promise me sex to know the fulfillment of Jesus Christ. I pray someday that you receive the grace and the assurances that come with the belief that Jesus Christ is not only the begotten Son, but he is Savior and King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And like it was written in Jeremiah, God looked and found no other gods but he. We'll be right back with the exam tonight on immigration, people.
Hi, my name is Christopher Arnold. I'm the executive chef of Infused Restaurant, and today I'm gonna walk you through some of the meals that we prepare here. We're making a pizza. We use fresh Italian sausage. And we cut here and slice it up. Our pizza dough is in-house made. Our pizza sauce is in-house made. So everything is fresh and free. This is our Thai curry chicken. The sauce is made with coconut milk and the Thai red curry. It is juicy chicken thighs as well as some mixed vegetables, served with jasmine rice and pita bread. So now we're going to prepare our famous blackened tilapia and grits, our fish and grits on the menu. And our meal will be complete. Let me tell you about our infused heat burger. When we kick the spice up just a little bit with our infused sauce, we start off with 80-20 USDA ground chuck, hand
Ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing better than infuse, infuse, infuse. Yes, 6339 Allentown Road, Temple Hills, Maryland. 20748 301 449 9000. Infuse.com for the best food that you could possibly have in the Washington National Capital area. Certainly, it is the best. Ladies and gentlemen, um, there was a statement made in the chat room, and this is just there we go. We're gonna put that away, and this just goes to show you how great my audience is. When other people would be fearful and chattering of teeth and worried about what could possibly come their way, what is their destiny, this is what Mary, my bouncer, has to say. Nothing can separate us from the love of Christ. Jesus died for Muslims too. We should let them know that. Can you believe? That's my audience. That's the maturity of my audience. That our audience is more concerned for you than for themselves. And that's why America is so great, because there's a Mary Brockman, there's a Ken McClinton, there's a Dr. Michael Jones, there's a Deborah Blair someday become a U.S. citizen. We'll help you. We'll help you do that. But there are great Americans that love others so much that they are willing, and this is what you have to know without a shadow of a doubt. And it's egregious. It's shameful, really, when you think about it. But Americans are so worried about the rest of the world and making certain that the rest of the world knows the joys and the pleasures and the luxuries and the decencies of being citizens of the United States of America that we're willing to open up our doors to just about any and everybody. Period. And that's one of the problems with Americans, is that we really are good people. And the rest of the world, when you think about individuals who had to escape persecution from dictatorial empires, they had to escape at gunpoint from radical jihadists. They had to escape emperors who have arrested their rights and left them, in many cases, for dead, have stolen their wealth, their land, their property, their nativity, have stolen all of that from them. And we open our arms and we say, come on, no, don't worry about it. You don't have clothes? We got clothes. What, we go to Walmart for you. What do you want? You don't have something to eat? We'll get something for you to eat. We don't even do your food stamp. Your health care is not good? Oh, don't worry about it. We'll give you free health care. Although it's not really free, so don't trust that statement. This is America. And you have to understand that our founding fathers wanted you to say that you were not a Central American American, or an Asian American, or an African American, or a European American, or an Australian American. They wanted you to get rid of all the hyphens and say, e pluribus unum, I am an American. That's what our founding fathers want. And yet every day, there are some in America, who like to bring out the worst and promote it to the rest of the world and say, yeah, that's the evil we are. Why do you want to be an American? We don't even want to be. We're embarrassed to be Americans. If we could leave our cushy jobs at the New York Times, we would become a member of your country. And people in that country are like, are you a fool or what? Tax rate, 90%. What tax rate? They took my money from the ATM. I don't have any wealth. They took my land. Come on. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand that being an American is a truly, truly great thing. I'm an American. The first thing I am is a son of God. That can never be taken from me. God gave it, he'll never take it away. But I'm an American. I was born to be an American, and I am proud to be an American. There is no nation with absolute flawlessness. But if you think of exceptionalism, if you think of a nation that puts itself in second to every other nation, even though it is the greatest nation of all, we don't seek dominion over other countries. We don't go in and invade other countries and make them our states. That's not what we do. I mean, how many nations go in and then try to help you build hospitals and schools? Yeah. Do you know that we pay for 2/3 of the United Nations? There are almost 200 countries in all of the world, and yet this one nation pays for 2/3 of the cost of the United Nations. And a large amount of the International Monetary Fund. We are a great, great nation. Willing to send individuals to the most stark countries to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. Dr. Livingston, I presume? Why do you think Dr. Livingston was there? He was there to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's America. America that is willing to make certain that our corporations spread the good news, or at least it used to be. Ladies and gentlemen, America is a wonderful country. If you have to find a reason to say that it is a great country, I mean, if you're struggling with that, take a look at this. George Washington, who had just defeated the British, who were seen as noble in England as he was honored in America, looked upon as a military genius, an honorable officer of the law, and a tremendous statesman. He could have used his victory during the Revolutionary War to set up his own kingdom. And in fact, there were people in this country that wanted to do that for him. And after his second tour of duty as President of the United States, he gives one of the most well-referenced speeches in American history. And he denies them the privilege of making him king. What nation on this earth, I ask you, in the past 200 years has had a leader who's helped install not only a constitution, but the government itself, has been a military genius and great leader, a commander of men and machinery, one who has resonance and honor and prestige the world renowned. How many of them laid down their privilege, said, I will serve 2 terms, and then walked away without ever seeking again the throne? Bill Clinton can't say that today. And he was none of those things. Imagine how great it is to be in a country where after 8 years, your president steps down and we the people allow another to serve in his place. There has been only one constitution in the past 250 years that void amendments, because that's a part of the Constitution, but has been unchanged in its basis in 250 years. Do you know what country holds that great honor? It's the United States of America. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, Marines have fought our battles on land, on air, and sea. We had men, black, white, native, and other, who helped expand this land from the shores of Maine and Florida to the shores of California and Hawaii, have gone as far north as Alaska and as far south as Puerto Rico. In fact, the people of Guam wake up every morning being the first to see the sunrise in our nation. What a great and wondrous country we are. What great and wondrous people. With the creation of the automobile and mass processing, with the delivery of oil and natural gas to the world. Food. Our Midwest grows food for the entire world. Ladies and gentlemen, Africa's continent has all of the resources necessary to grow all of the food necessary for the world for 200 years, and no one else would need plant. And yet, after 4,000 years, they still have not accomplished that feat. Americans feed the world. We have more than enough, too much overflow. And it's not because we were chosen by God to be something more special than anyone else, but it is by his divine providence that men have heeded his voice here in America and sought his glory rather than our own. Castro can't say that. Vladimir Putin can't say that. There are many who wish they could say that they were as exceptional a nation as the United States. None. None. Despite the diplomacy and political correctness of your president, none recognize how great we are like the rest of the world does. When there is disharmony in a land, whom does the world turn to for leadership? It used to be us. Now they're turning to Vladimir Putin. Ladies and gentlemen, greatness can be granted, but it also can be lost. We must make America great again. Not just with rhetoric, but actually living out what it means be an American. We'll be back with our last commercials of the night right after this.
Right swipe. It's gonna be a right swipe. This man has shaped his chest hair into a heart. Oh. You stole mine. Right swipe.
Right swipe. Right swipe. That guy looks like my sister. It does. But I know she's not.
He's cuddling a kitten. God, I want to eat their faces.
Oh, she's hot.
Oh, wait a minute.
That's a lollipop. Ooh, that is not a lollipop. Left swipe.
That's fine. This must be some kind of joke. You think you're my type? Not my type. You're good in the cloud of smoke. I just left swipe. Bye bye. I just left swipe.
Left swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left.
Yeah.
You gotta swipe it
Left
left.
swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left. This is just like your life, so I gotta
Left swipe that.
look at you with your shirt off. Flex to your buff, but you come hashtag correct. Yeah, you work out, you're in shape. Okay, I like the six-pack abs, not the six-pack a day.
Came across a photo of his green-eyed body. Oh my, pretty face, tight waist, nice body. I just couldn't overlook one small fact. He smokes like an old man at a racetrack.
This must be some kind of joke. You think you're my type? Not my type. You're good in the cloud of smoke. I just left swipe. Bye bye. I just left swipe.
Left swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left.
Yeah.
You gotta swipe it
Left
left.
swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left. This is just like your life, so I gotta
Left swipe that.
Mr. Road Traveler, your trips look expensive. Sitting on a mountaintop, looking all expensive. I'm about to ask, how's the air up there? But based on this pic, I guess you don't really care.
I said chicks in the pic, not sure which was you. Them cigarettes are taking your hotels to the juice. And one thing's true about your whole crew. Now you Cinderella's gonna be my boo.
Smoking with a tiger?
Let's swipe that.
While you're on a hang glider?
Let's swipe that. I'm smoking mine. Let's swipe that.
Smoking all stealthy?
Let's swipe that. Smoking with a duck face. Let's swipe that.
At a monster truck race?
Let's swipe that. Smoking in the car. Let's swipe that.
Even in a photo zone?
You don't care. Let's swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left.
Yeah.
You gotta swipe it
Let's
left.
swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left. This is just like your life, so I gotta
Let's swipe that.
You gotta swipe it left.
Yeah. Hashtag.
I'll never remember you.
No, she will not. Don't even ask her. Ladies and gentlemen, remember now, there are soldiers who receive the valuable gift of love and attention from Stockings for Soldiers, Delaware Incorporated, 1911 Folk Road, Wilmington, Delaware, 19810. And guess what? Those good people need your support. All you need to do is send them a check. Whatever it is, $10. Give up your pizza money. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, okay? And you can write this stuff off for your taxes next year. All you need to do is write a check to Stockings for Soldiers, Delaware Incorporated, 1911 Folk Road, Wilmington, Delaware, 19810. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the last of our commercials tonight. We're going to head straight into our conversation on immigration. We're doing the testing tonight. Yeah, Mary, it only took us 240 years to turn around. Wow. Yep, the declaration, the grievances in the declaration, looks like they're very same today, Mary. You're absolutely right. Absolutely, positively right. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask this particular question because the questions get tougher from here. We're just only going to do 3 more. Can we do 3 more? Then we'll get into the immigration stuff in greater. What do we show loyalty to when we say the Pledge of Allegiance? What do we show loyalty to when we say the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, that's your next question. Here we go. 30 seconds. What do we show loyalty to when we say the Pledge of Allegiance? Got 10 seconds. Got 5 seconds. There we go. We're going to stop right there. What do we show loyalty to when we say the Pledge of Allegiance. This is for double the points in this particular session. The flag. The flag is the correct answer, Mary. I think Deborah might be a little slow. She might be away from here. Oh, glory. You're absolutely right. Mary gets that one. Okay. Terrific. We did not hear from. It looks like Mary's going to be the winner of this one. Here we go. For American history, what group of people was taken to America and sold as slaves? What group of people was taken to America and sold as slaves? All right, here we go. That should be a very easy one, but we're going to give you 30 seconds on that one. There we go. 30 seconds. Here we go. Remember now, this is only for individuals who are in the chat room tonight, September 29th, 2015. So don't try to say that you want the $50 gift card. It will be awarded tonight to the winner. For those of you who said Africans, you are absolutely positively correct. Africans is the group of people that were sold into slavery. And actually the Muslims did that. Believe it or not, the Muslims did. Okay, here's some recent American history. Recent American history. Name one American Indian tribe in the United States. Name just one. I think Deb has stepped away for a moment. Nah, she's going to lose out. There you go. One American Indian tribe. All right, we stop right there. Name one Cherokee. Very good. Here's the last question of the night. The last question of the night. And has to deal with geography. Geography. What ocean is on the east coast of the United States? You go, you show off. Mary's a show off. What ocean is on the east coast of the United States? That doesn't even require us to go to any music, but let's give Mary an opportunity. She won big here. She's going to get this final answer to us. What ocean is on the east coast of the United States of America? There you go. I know there are going to be some people who listen to this show who are going to be mad because they were not here tonight. Ken, why would you do that? Let's see. Atlanta gets the correct answer. Mary got 8 points in this round. She had 8 points in the last round. Mary has 16 points, going away the winner of today's immigration quiz. Thank you so much, Mary. You will receive a $50 gift card that you can use anywhere you darn well please. There you go, Mary. Congratulations. We love you, Mary. Mary's my bouncer. That's probably one of the reasons why she's my bouncer. She's so brilliant. So very brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, immigration is a problem in the United States, but it may not be the problem that everyone points to just being a wall. Just right there, many people could not answer all of those particular questions. It's amazing that if people took this exam themselves who are U.S. citizens, many people would fail it. So we have given people a few months to learn virtually 12 years of geography, history, and so on. So what exactly is citizenship? Okay, what exactly is citizenship? How do I become a U.S. citizen through the naturalization process? Well, I'm glad that you asked me tonight. Last night we went over this particular situation for people who are actually born here in the United States of America. Now I want to take you to the area of citizenship through naturalization. And I know some of you all will say, well, gee, Ken, that should be pretty easy. You get a card or something, you come in, you study, and then the next thing you know, you're a U.S. citizen, right? That's the way it should be, isn't it? I wish it were that simplistic, but it really isn't. And it's important for us to know why individuals have to go through this stuff uh, in order to become citizens of the United States of America, knowing that there is already a path to citizenship. There is already a path to citizenship. Here we go. You may qualify to be a naturalized citizen of the United States if you have been a permanent resident for at least 5 years and meet all other eligibility requirements. A permanent resident for at least 5 years and meet all other eligibility requirements. You have been a permanent resident for 3 years or more and meet all eligibility requirements to file as a spouse of a U.S. citizen. You have qualifying service in the U.S. Armed Forces and meet all other eligibility requirements. Or your child may qualify for naturalization if you are a U.S. citizen, the child was born outside of the U.S., the child is currently residing outside the U.S., and all other eligibility requirements are met. And we talked about that citizenship through parents last night. So those are the 4 ways of naturalization. There are individuals who say that the U.S. does not have a path to citizenship. And they would like to work on a way for people to get a pathway to citizenship. That is a bold-faced lie. It is a hard road, but there is a pathway to U.S. citizenship already on the books. Nothing special has to be done, besides maybe get the judiciary out of the way and maybe give a few steroids to the Congress to give them strength to act in accord with what their constitutional requirement is on immigration, defining and outlining and demanding of the president. But there's so many people who are part of the Rhino establishment and the socialist establishment of Congress that they don't want to make any real changes. They virtually just want things to slip and slide along. And we'll talk about that tomorrow night, why our Congress refuses to act. But this pathway to citizenship allows the individual to have a green card. Green card holders married to U.S. citizens can become citizens. Green card holders in the military and their family can become citizens. The power of the green card is one of the things we'll talk about tonight. Tomorrow we'll talk about visas as well. But if you are a green card holder of at least 5 years, you must meet the following requirements in order to apply for naturalization. You have to be 18 or older at the time of your filing. 18 years old at the time of your filing. We will not marry. We will not. You will get it. And you will use it. You have to be a green card holder for at least 5 years immediately preceding the date of filing the Form N-400 application for naturalization. We talked about that form last night. You have to have lived within the state or USCIS district with jurisdiction over the applicant's place of residence for at least 3 months prior to the date of filing the application. You can't just keep moving around. You have to be in one place. You have continuous residence in the United States as a green card holder for at least 5 years immediately preceding the date of filing the application. You have to be physically present in the United States for at least 30 months out of those 5 years. That means that you can't take the weekend vacation, which lasts 6 months in Saudi Arabia, and then swing over to Syria. You can't do that. And it's suspicious even. You have to reside continuously within the United States from the date of application for naturalization up to the time of naturalization. Now, here's a key thing. And this is why true conservatives should be pushing this in the next election, making English the official language of the United States of America. Ken, that is racist. How dare you? That is so racist and xenophobic and anti homosexual and you're just evil like that and ungodly. That English. Let me explain to you why English must be seen as the official language of the United States of America. Because our immigration policy says so. Our immigration policy says so. In fact, you have to be able to read, write, and speak English and have knowledge and an understanding of U.S. history and government civics in order to become a U.S. citizen. Now, let me say that to you for those who are following along at home who are very liberal and down low listeners. You don't get this. If you can only speak one language to get into this country and stay in this country, what is that one language? Well, it's English. And what language does your child learn in school? Well, almost learn in school because apparently we fail when it comes to English. I don't know. You're in an English country and you fail in English. But English is the official language of public school study. In fact, when people talk about alternative languages in school, they refer to it as second language. Why? Because English is the official language of education. Oh, guess what? English is the official language of money. English is the official language in which we speak on the House and Senate floors. Although some people try to speak Spanish and try to make it, universal. English. And so if English, especially for those people who only speak English and yet pass laws so that other people who are speaking in different tongues, separating us from e pluribus unum and to whatever unum you want. Ladies and gentlemen, English is our official language. Our immigration policy says so. So why not make it mandatory that people who vote read English and write English and understand English? People that get an ID card so they can drive read English, write English, and understand English. Present identification to get welfare or food stamps or a beer. What ID card do you show them? Do you show them your Spanish ID card? No. You show them your English card. Ladies and gentlemen, the official language in which you must study and must know under immigration policy is English. You would only make it English if it were really your official language. Spanish is not the official language of the United States of America. German is not the official language of the United States of America. Portuguese is not the official language of the United States of America. According to immigration policy, you must be able to read, write, and speak English. Hopefully I've made that crystal clear to everyone. Mary is in the chat room. She says, a Mexican who cannot speak English is almost always an illegal alien. There you go. All ballots should always be in English. I agree with you wholeheartedly, Mary. If you can't count the ballots right, why would you use an ulterior language? Who says you got that thing right on the ballot? Now, here's the last thing I want to tell you. And this is why people talk about how offensive it is for Donald Trump to talk about Muslims not being allowed in this country. Here's the final eligibility for entry into our country in order to get your green card. Here's the final one. You have to be a person of good moral character, attached to the principles of the Constitution of the United States, and well disposed to the good order and happiness of the United States during all relevant periods under law. You cannot say that you love the United States of America and practice jihad or practice Sharia. They don't fit the Constitution. Jihad is treason. Sharia is slavery. They don't fit the U.S. Constitution. And as such, when someone says that a Muslim who subscribes to Sharia law and a Muslim who subscribes to jihad cannot come into our country, it's not because he's being racist. And I don't know how y'all put race with everything. I mean, what you have for dinner tonight? I had racist. It's just like the term is just used. It's not even important anymore. It's just been so bastardized by individuals who have misused it that it matters not. It's just irrelevant a term. But nevertheless, for those who use that particular term, the bottom line is, unless you subscribe to the principles of the U.S. Constitution fully and expressly, and have good moral character, meaning that you are not buying guns illegally and then going into Christmas parties to blow people away. So based on those 5 things, that's your pathway to citizenship. Now, why do politicians, and I was going to talk about this tomorrow, but I'm not going to get it out of the way. We'll talk about some other things regarding green card holders and so on, and visas tomorrow, but why do politicians tell you that there is no pathway to citizenship? Well, it's not because you have to be 18 or older. That's not it. And it's not because you have to be a green card holder. Come on, that's just paperwork. And it's not because you have to live in the United States. There's no problem living in the United States. You pay taxes. Hey, bring the revenue in. We don't mind. Although we send a lot of tax dollars outside for tax purposes, earned income tax. We'll talk about it. What's the problem? The problem, good night. The problem are the last 2. That's why they say there is no pathway to citizenship. Rhino Republicans and socialist Marxist utopians don't like the fact that you have to read, write, and speak English. That's number 1. And then number 2, they don't like the fact that you have to be a person of good moral character, meaning that Christ is involved in there somewhere. Somewhere in there, Christ is involved, because what did our founding fathers build this nation on, this Constitution on? The principles of Christianity. And not only that you have to abide by the Constitution of the United States, not the living, breathing portion of it, but actually the Constitution as seen by our founding fathers, which is strict constitutionalism. And that you are guaranteed a Republican form of government. Not the Republican Party, but a Republican form of government. Not democracy, but a republic. Difference. And then finally, that you are well disposed to good order and happiness. That you're not doing things in this country that the left wouldn't mind you doing, but the Constitution would say otherwise. You see, the problem with immigration is that we have allowed the socialists, the Marxists, the utopians, the statists, the tyrannists, and the rhino Republicans to come together and forge an alliance. It's not about rich people getting visas. It's not really about that. Or about certain select individuals who are getting visas because they have engineering licenses. It's not really that. The problem is the last two pieces of eligibility. What they want to do is strike down those last two. If they could strike those out, you would have a pathway to citizenship that they approved of. If they could get rid of God, get rid of the Constitution, get rid of the Declaration of Independence, pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness, and get rid of the English, score, they gotta go. See, that's the America that the rhino Republicans, the tyrannists, the statists, the utopians, the Marxists, the socialists, the uh, people who pretend they live on the street but have Apple computers really want. That's what they want. They want to end America. Our founding fathers made certain that when people came into this country, that they became Americans, not members of the Democrat Party, and not members of the Republican Party either. That was a choice of the individual. You see, the whole basis of our immigration argument, in truth, is about where you stand in your worldview. If your worldview is skewed towards the philosophies of men, where Caitlyn Jenner has helped the human rights agencies and commissions around the country develop a skill set to siphon off a $125,000 fine against individuals and $250,000 against businesses if you don't call them by their right name on that particular day. Yeah, that's happening in New York. And if it happens in New York, where a communist has been elected mayor and communism is being enforced on the good people, or at least socialism, through the noble LGBTQ arguments, in which you are forcing men and women to leave out gender for bathrooms and for all other things. That's the chaos. You know, Jeb Bush talks about Donald Trump being the chaos candidate. The problem is that rhinos like him and Rubio and all others have created the chaos in which he could be a candidate in. If you really want America back, one of the first things you're going to have to do is learn how to take back your cities and create strong fortresses. That requires you to get rid of your political correctors. In doing so, that virtually means that you have to embrace English as the primary language, the principles of the Constitution, the morality of a vibrant America, and good order and happiness. You can't make Ferguson available for every urban center. I'll be writing an essay on the human rights thing, and I'll be getting that out later on this week while I'm on vacation here with my lovely wife, who is allowing me to do my show for the rest of the week while we visit the beaches of Wilmington, North Carolina. A man once said to me, "Ken, live bravely so that you will never have to die a coward." I promise you, I always will. I want to thank all of you for tuning in tonight to learn about immigration in America. As we finish off this week, we will be talking about immigration so that you can get your arms around it and understand why the Republicans and the Democrats want to use that vessel to destroy our nation and how you can fight against it. From all of us at the Exceptional Conservative Show, Mrs. Biggs, Mary, my bouncer, Deborah, thank you so much for being here tonight. We love you all, and we wish you the very best of New Year's. Now, always remember, God blessed America. Now it's time for America to bless God. See you tomorrow night.